It was perfect timing.
Everybody had time to go home.
Wait, where's my Terry? You cannot keep the cookies too if you want.
Yeah, Terry, didn't you know that was your lunch break?
That was our
I
lunch
missed
break.
it, but that's okay.
We gotta let you know that.
Maybe jump-started diet.
Y'all didn't have lunch out there, Mike?
No.
Then y'all missed out on y'all
We
break.
got probably got 10 minutes before it arrives.
We did not know.
I think it's here.
It's here.
Uh-oh.
Back to meeting, man.
We did not know.
Got a long meeting. Let's go.
I'm waiting for Beverly to seat herself as secretary.
She back in, she got it. Okay, yes.
You all wired to go? Okay, and just as an announcement, as we came out of executive session, that no votes were taken and no decisions were made that we are bound to at this time.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that we accept Curtis's
Hold it,
resignation.
give me a second. I gotta see where I folded at that page.
You know, Mike.
All right. Chairman's items,
Let's get all the signatures.
CEO employment separation. Clinton.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept Curtis's resignation today as CEO with an employment separation date of July the 12th.
I second it.
Third. I have a second. All those in favor? Another unanimous. This is amazing. Interim staff chief appointment. Clinton.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we appoint Mike Brown as interim CEO effective today.
I second it.
All those in favor? Unanimous. Congratulations, Mike.
Congratulations, Mike. Thank you.
Condolences, Mike.
I send you my prayers.
There's always one.
I will send any prayers.
Don't get
Light a
it.
candle.
Don't get it. And with that note, Executive Director, you're up.
Just like that.
It's your
Hey, that's how
thing.
I got my vote last time. Your turn, Mike. What? I didn't even have to hammer.
Yeah, so the executive director report is on your tablets. I entertain any questions you have at this time.
I'm gonna let you go today.
Any questions there? Anybody? I think we're good. All right, let's move on to unit updates. Michael, you're up again.
So the service delivery report is also in your tablets. I would just like to point out that in reference to Dr. Williams, we have been in contact with her. We haven't been able to set up a meeting yet. I've spoken to Commissioner Ellison in the past about setting up a meeting and staying in contact with Dr. Williams so we can coordinate her schedule with the schedule of the customers, her patients and our customers.
Her daughter just got married, so
Yes,
it's probably
great
been.
picture.
That's why she's
Yeah.
been.
Okay.
That's why she.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll continue to reach out to her until we make contact with her. Otherwise, the service delivery, I'll entertain any questions on service delivery you have.
What about the other lady in the call of the police and so forth? Have you been able to get in touch with her?
What's the follow-up on that?
We did reach back out to her, but we haven't gotten anything back.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did reach back out to her. So if you do contact her, she could.
No, if she show up again, and I'm gonna tell her you didn't do what I asked you to do. I told her to walk around that corner. She lives right around the corner from you.
Okay.
And I told her, I gave her your number and told her to walk around that corner.
Okay.
So when she come back again, I'm gonna tell her she didn't walk around the corner, so don't come to me until she go around the corner.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm serious. That's the way it's supposed to be. You know, if she made a complaint that they called the police on her and blase, and you know, like I told you, she's not a member, but she just showed up that Sunday. So I'm gonna tell her.
She came by, but we just missed it.
She came. Well, she did come by.
She did come by.
Oh, okay.
But after that, we did.
So y'all didn't get no. We didn't get no contact information from her. Oh, okay.
They said they contacted her.
They
She
contacted, but after that, y'all contacted
We haven't heard
her.
back.
And she- Okay, well then, she can't come to me.
We're good as far as what we did.
Yeah, then she can't come back to me no more.
Gotcha. Any other questions on service delivery update? Moving right along to system development update, Patricia.
Good afternoon. Just wanted to report to everyone that our project team, we successfully completed the second phase of our system redesign initiative, which focused on the two concepts and a special survey for people to provide feedback. We received approximately 338 comments regarding the network concepts, and we had a good, very informative meeting on the 19th with board members regarding the two concepts. Michelle was in town, and she just needed to hear feedback from board members and update everybody regarding the report. I emailed that report out to all of you prior to the meeting, and then there was a PowerPoint presentation that was shared at the workshop, and we also have that report online.
Mike,
Jay?
when you finish your report, I got a question.
Oh,
Okay.
are you done?
That's it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of the comments that were submitted, what was the percentage ridership versus non-ridership?
Okay, remember she told us,
It was high.
yes, it was very high, because we did 3 days of extracurricular activities out on the platform, obtaining surveys from customers. And so we had something like almost 150 that had to be placed into that actual survey. Remember, the survey was online, as well as we took paper copies with us to various community meetings. We had paper copies at your town hall meetings. And so, as a result, we got input from more of our customers than we had hoped, which was a good thing, which was very positive.
And I like the numbers that we got, the responses from
Right.
Chester.
And I also,
I'm sorry.
I
I
also
didn't know you
requested
weren't
from Michelle, remember the PowerPoint that she shared with us? And she summarized the summary report. So I do have that. I can share it with Beverly so that she can send it out to you all, just so the members who weren't present, you can kind of have an idea of what all we discussed at the meetings. But there's a summary. Basically, there's a couple of PowerPoint slides where Michelle basically breaks down the summary results. So we can share that with you all today. But I did get that.
Follow up.
And the last point I had to make was, I appreciate Mr. Dumas being there, because I remember Mr. Dumas when I rode the 13 back in the day, 25 years ago. So he's part of that bus, number one. Number two,
Okay. So
from
you
that-
invited Mr. Dumas?
No.
Is that why he was there?
No, I had no, I mean,
Okay,
he was just there.
I thought he
And-
was your
and-
guest.
No, I was glad he was there. But what I was saying was, I remember me and Mr. Dumas had a discussion in reference to the 114. And the 114 used to be an express bus, and that's going to be a conversation I'm going to have with Mike and Mike. Mike and Mike. I'm gonna use that. Not Mike and Ike, Mike and Ike. I'm going to have a conversation with Mike and Mike in reference to, because that thing was what the 114 did for us in the past was a very good option, and I want to stress the fact that when we talked about this whole thing as far as Let's Go is concerned, we always kept saying within the realm of the money we have. But my complication that I've been thinking on it harder is, that's cool with the realm of the money we have, but if we're leaning harder toward, I guess, ridership, but we need certain routes, no one is bringing to me what's the cost to do another route. And I understand costs associated to the operator in the bus, and it's not in the cost of the bus, but the operation of the bus. But if it's a particular route that we need to add to the structure, if it is a ridership concept, no one has brought to me what is the cost to add a route on top of what we already budgeted in. And I would make sure that I would like to see in this third phase that we start looking at costs on routes being associated with this, because with that'll let me know the latitude of what routes we could add and what routes we couldn't add.
Right.
And I'm not trying to get out the scope of what we get as far as budget is concerned. Not saying the magical puff, the magic dragon monies are going to come. However, I would like to see what the cost is associated with those kind of routes.
Right, and Michelle, we can get that for you.
Thank you.
And if needed, your call. But if we need to arrange for her to have a conversation with you all when you have that discussion with the two mics, she's open to that.
Okay, well, I'll call them too, and then after that, then we'll make a decision
Okay,
whether we're
okay.
going to call her.
Chester, I know you
Because
have
we had a
question.
little debrief afterwards,
Did
and
he
she
get to
knows
you?
that that's a concern of yours.
Yeah, when you get to.
I'm done. I passed my.
Go ahead, Chester. Bill, you're right after him. He had his hand up.
Are we making announcements on any of our routes now concerning transportation in Pooler and transportation in Thunderbolt?
Yes, sir. We've been taking care of.
What is the announcement?
After the committee meetings, at the committee meetings, we shared copy about the announcements that would go on the bus stops in Thunderbolt, and we got some feedback from the various committee members that were there. And after that meeting, we basically finalized that information, and our operations team, they installed the signs at 12 of the bus stops in Thunderbolt. And we also reached out to the city mayor of Thunderbolt prior to our committee meetings, because I was communicated with her that that was coming up and we were going to be placing those signs. And so we had a good conversation. She just asked that I share the locations of those stops, which we did. So that's what we're doing. And then our customer call center, they're prepared to answer questions that they might have regarding the calls that come in. But the message on the sign, basically, we put them up there. Wendy, do you recall that date? Was it that Thursday?
Oh, we did it on the.
It's a sign that's on the
It's put up
bus.
on the 14th.
On the 14th.
It's a sign that's on the bus.
There's a sign on the bus stops where customers are currently catching buses.
But what announcements are we making on the bus
Okay, well, we're only
itself?
talking about, well, we have information on the website. We're only talking about 12 signs.
Excuse me. Please answer my question. I don't want all that fluff. What announcements are we making on the bus? Is there a tape of any kind? Is there some information you're giving on the bus? Announcements on the bus about the stops in Thunderbolt and about stops in Poole?
No, sir.
No, okay.
Do we have that capacity?
No, I'm
know.
asking because I was told that.
Oh.
That's why I'm asking that. Now, so if we put a sign on here that says the Thunderbolt bus will not be stopping at this particular thing, that's one thing. But I was talking about what announcements, and I didn't hear anything about announcements being made. I know we're supposed to put up the information on the bus. That's what I'm interested in. What announcements being made? The answer is none. Right?
We're on the bus itself?
All right, I'm through with that. Thank you.
Bill?
Actually, two questions based on something Jay and Chester said. I don't understand the Pooler reference, Chester. We didn't have any issues at Pooler, did we?
Listen, I just
I
got
know we had the
I just got a text message that said they are making this announcement on the bus about stops in Pooler, and I was saying, what kind of announcement are they making? I don't know.
well, we need to check into that because we
that's a
have
good
the
question.
service there.
I invited them to come to the meeting today. All right,
The person that
the
called.
person who sent me the text message, I invited them to come
All right,
so
well,
they can tell me what they were hearing, because I don't know. I had no knowledge of any announcements that we were making on the bus. And according to what Mike said, we don't even have that capacity.
I don't know.
So while they're riding saying X is going to be happening or Y is going to be happening, we don't have
Trolleys
that.
have it.
We
but I
don't.
didn't think they did.
We don't have
Okay.
any kind of audio announcement capability.
Not that capability.
That's what I understand.
Yeah.
And I'll be happy to respond to that text.
No, I'll send
Okay.
Okay, my second question was for Jay, and I apologize for not knowing
Looking
the
around.
numbers that well, but you mentioned the 114 Express. Was that ever?
That was the Abercorn Express. It was-
Okay,
it was
I
Abercorn.
have this mostly on full memory that, and I don't know if it was before you were on the board or not, but at one point we had to do a service reduction.
Yeah, I got the whole background.
Well, and the reason we did 114 was because of the low ridership compared to the regular Abercorn ride.
And not to elongate the meeting, my conversation was, at the time when that happened, veterans wasn't a part of the conversation. And so my entertainment piece was, we don't use veterans and we don't use troops in any kind of conversation. And back then, Georgetown Flyover wasn't available either. And Georgetown Flyover the traffic on Georgetown Flyover is getting better.
Heavy.
And within a year or two, it's going to be a whole lot better. So my thing is, we're not entertaining using other routes to make things easy for our transit system. And that's all. But it was a conversation between him. You more than welcome to come to the conversation. I don't care who's in the conversation. I just want to explore using other alternative routes.
Express routes make a lot of sense to me intuitively, but what we were looking at in real numbers.
Well, my thought was this. Take the Abercorn 14. Instead of Abercorn 14 coming to Savannah Mall all the way to downtown, you plug it up at Oglethorpe as the hub. And then you have a 14 West and a 14 East. 14 West will go to
North-South.
Yeah, north-south, however you want to call it.
Yeah, no, and that's what we've been talking about.
And then what will happen is the 14 will go from Oglethorpe to Savannah Mall, and then hit Express out, and everything on the south side will pull her into, I guess, Savannah Mall. And that's what I just want to discuss, other alternative routes, because we have other alternative roads now, and we've never explored none of that kind of conversation. So that's
We
why
can still do that at this stage. Right now, remember the two concepts that we put out there for feedback for the public were the results of a 3-day workshop with technical staff, which included CAT staff, city staff, MPO staff. So we came up with the coverage concept and the high ridership concept, just to kind of get a feel for the general public, what they were leaning toward, so that we could bring that information back to you all. You all could ask your questions and provide direction to our consultant about next steps. So and then next steps would be, like according to our timeline, next steps would be at this phase, you all give direction to the consultant. She and her team, they go back and they draft a network plan for the area.
And that's why I'm at this stage telling you about the 114.
Absolutely.
And giving alternative conversation and asking for what the cost is for alternative routes.
Right, and that's exactly what we want at this stage. So I just wanted to make that point that nothing's final.
And it looks like we're bookend on both extremes, and we're really going to settle somewhere between 50-50 and 0 and 100, and then the routes can be designed based on what we pick as our concept.
And I understood, that's why I didn't have this conversation.
Yeah, we got some more work to do.
This phase.
Yes,
Yeah,
we have more work to do.
Tabitha, you had a question?
I do. Is this the spot where I can ask about the bus stops?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I'm not sure what your question about the bus stops are.
Okay.
So yes, let's do it now.
Okay. We used to talk about the actual bus
The
stops.
shelter things.
Yes, but we haven't talked about those for a while.
Amenities.
Yes. But on Abercorn, on the right side of Abercorn, from downtown all the way to the other side of Savannah Mall, there are several of the stops that are in the middle of grass. And several of those stops are insect homes now. So,
And hills. Is that
yeah,
what
so you got
okay.
people standing. And so when are we going to get back to like putting the concrete down, and several of the stops, especially the ones that are in front of the car lots, they don't have any shelters at all. And I watched a whole ton of people get drenched in that deluge that came down the other day. So even if we don't put the benches, there needs to be some sort of rain shelter. But even if we can't get to the shelters, can we put some concrete and kill the ants?
I don't. I'm going to have two answers to that. One, once we decide which places we're keeping, we can start adding to where, because I know the one on where I have to go is a pole on a hill.
Yeah.
It's like Iwo Jima. You can stand.
Yeah, you stand there and hold on to it. Yeah.
There's no protection. And those are the things we are repairing as we see the need according to budget.
Are we responsible for any injuries that happened there with that, for maintenance? With those,
If they tripped, I would think yes.
Well,
What
it's
if
going to depend on who owns the property, who the owner is. With the city, you have to get a permit to put down concrete. If it's on private property, the owner's going to have to give you permission to do that. So it's going to depend on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, so if somebody gets bit by some fire ant, has an allergic reaction, pass out right there, it may or may not be our maintenance issue.
Yeah, fire ants, hills are obvious, and they assume the risk if they go stand in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Are we held liable if they stand in it?
Well,
Since
if
we
you're
have
not forcing
secrets
them to
in it.
stand there, then no,
So-
you're not.
We're the secret.
So those guys in the truck,
Yeah, I was just
who
gonna say, we have someone.
who be at those buses, who go and work at those buses, they can't take ant killers or nothing. They can't spray. But I understand the private property stuff. I understand the property belongs to the city, right?
We just have right of
We have
usage on that.
right of usage, but we can't treat anything there. We can't
Well,
put
if you
it-
cut the grass, I don't see why you
we're gonna
couldn't
get
spray
Steve
for-
in here,
for-
because he might know where we
for
do
fire
have guys
also.
out there.
I think we should
I don't
look,
wanna-
you know, I don't know if we're looking.
Because I want to live by what Pete said
But-
earlier.
I mean,
There-
if people do put
I'm just
ant
gonna
killer
read it.
out there, I'll
Okay.
have them
Okay.
take more on that
When
out.
we see it.
because it's bad. They'll put ant poison out there on them and they'll move the ants
Yeah.
from one spot to another.
Yeah.
But they do put it out.
Yeah, because
Okay.
it's just that they move so many families south side now.
Oh,
that-
those things come up in a week.
I know, and it's just, and like all the bus stops, there's just so many people at them. You know, and there's like people and little kids and strollers.
Yeah. And they're all middle and running across streets.
It's
It's
a lot.
good, Jay. You
Hey,
have to, but I don't want to miss your.
I'm probably going to hear this later on from Tab, but I'm going to say it anyway. Riding the buses, I want to say, I want to commend, for general purposes, they do a great job of keeping those areas clean. However, to defend them, you probably had a lot more rain the last couple of weeks.
Oh, I'm not
Which when you-
complaining.
I'm not. I didn't say. Did I say anything?
I am not complaining.
I didn't say nothing about
No,
complaining.
you did.
I did not say Tab was complaining, yo.
They all
I just said, for the record, don't do me. You're supposed to block that. So you
I
don't
saw
like-
him move
Oh, I
back.
learned my lesson
Oh.
when Michael was sitting here. I don't sit in the middle of
This is not the counteract with the. Typically, what happens when you have high rate of rain, ants have to rebuild,
Gotta
and when
do
they
something.
rebuild, they build taller. So the ant piles were already there in existence. These just weren't as big as they were in the past.
And when you
you've
push
had
them down, they're back a week later.
And you've had a lot of rain the last couple of weeks, so I will defend them on that. Now, I will count the number of days when it rains, and if it's not raining and the area's not clean, then I'll have something to say. Because reason why I
I've
say
seen the trucks, they empty the garbage and they're at the.
that, reason why I say that is, the grass will be cut here, and then all around it, the grass is not cut. So
cut,
that's
yeah.
how I can tell that, and I'm not picking on any other entity in
Nope.
this building, because I don't want Howard to roll his chair back. If y'all catching with me. But I do think that they do a good job. I just think that the last couple of weeks we've had more outpour of
Yeah,
rain.
my
And those things
properties
happen.
down there has been.
But I agree with Tabitha.
And we get
So
the
she don't
same
need-
areas where the state cuts and you guys have to cut as the county because if it.
But ants don't like those areas, so it wouldn't matter.
No, but when you mow 2 inches, it takes a little less time than mowing 6.
Ants prefer to build ant hills in areas that are highly maintenance. They
And
don't
food.
like going in the areas that aren't highly maintenance because it brings food and
You
nourishment.
have a
and all
lot
that
of
stuff.
information about ants.
Well, I was a biology teacher.
I like ants too.
Any other questions?
Let's move on.
Now, I do have a point. I was going to wait till the new business, but I do have a point. She's making copies for me. Is this the point where we can talk about service? Since she said that.
Do you want to wait for your copies and we can return to it?
We
Do
can.
Terry's
I can
in
talk at new business. I was going to talk about it at new business. All right.
Terry, financial.
All right, financial updates in your package, and we're on trend month to date. We took a little dip. It was based on claims reserves on workers' comp. So if you want to follow the progress on that, on the second page, there's a bullet point that shows you the reserve piece and the claims paid out piece month to date and year to date for both accident insurance and workers' comp insurance. Outside of the financials, as we discussed in the committee, a revised and updated version of the DBE plan has been given to you as a handout. Give you a month to look at it, to review it. We'll have to make some administrative changes based on current administrative changes. But as a program, there is a CFR 49, Part 26, that pretty much dictates what's required, and this program presents that requirement. The DBE reviewing team that was here last October made a lot of requests for detailed procedures, and this revision provides those procedures and incorporates them into the plan. Be happy to take any questions.
The document you gave us here, just for clarity, this is the current policy and the revisions are here, or do you have the revisions?
The revisions are in the document,
Is this
and
red
the
line?
3-page control log is how I usually walk through from where we were to what we changed. So when we give revisions of the DBE or the Title VI or the EEO or procurement or accounting, I usually develop a control log that tells you what we deleted, what we added, what we changed, and give, yes. Yeah. So it's
So
the
this would
program
be the
as
new-
it was with the updates. So that's the updated program, but we will need to make some changes for executive officer and other administrative roles before we come back in July.
In the next board meeting, we need to adopt this.
Hopefully you will approve the revisions, yes.
And the changes as far as the office is concerned, how would we play reading that?
So Curtis right now is listed as the executive officer. I'll have to take his name off, put Mike's on, get him to sign a statement and have that posted to the website.
Are there any other officers we need to look at?
There's no other officers in the program. The CEO has to sign each policy statement, so I've got to change that.
Okay.
So that's not a change in policy, that's just.
It's
change of
administrative
personnel.
change in roles, yes.
Any
The
other questions?
language is
I'm sorry.
dictated by FTA regulation,
Yeah,
the
there's a lot.
I
program.
apologize for speaking.
So most of the language is required. We have added some results. The section on the minority financial institution has been updated to document the analysis we did. The detailed procedures have been added, and we have included our most recent goal-setting methodology, which will be updated as it becomes due in August.
Who's a DBE officer?
Right now, it's Andy Atkins. He's our compliance coordinator of programs.
And what's his background with this?
He actually worked for the, let's find it right,
He worked for-
the center.
I'm sorry. I thought I knew. I was. I apologize. I didn't know you was putting your words together. Go ahead.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
I always mispronounce the word. Anyway, he comes to us as a DBE officer from the city of Savannah. He worked with the city of Savannah first before he came to us with their DBE.
And does he have any other duties tied to that other than DBE?
His role?
Yeah, his role. within
His
the
role
function.
is 60% DBE, and he's responsible for staffing this program. And then it's also 40% organizational liaison and collection agent for all of the review data submissions that we have to make for the ongoing and standard FTA reviews. And he also staffs the Title VI and EEO programs.
All right. And does he serve as the EEO representative, or is that
He
something different?
staffs the EEO program, but the EEO regulations and circulars from the FTA require that an executive be designated the
I got you.
officer. So he works in my department. I'm designated the
I got you.
officer. He does the staff work.
So I got you. I'm good. That's all I got. If I got anything else, we'll talk about it.
Good. Anybody else have something? Questions for Terry?
Are we going to discuss this in committee? Maybe I should ask that. Is this something we're going to be discussing in
We're
committee?
going to have to, yes.
Okay. Because we're talking about voting it next month.
Yeah. I'd like to know. if
Yeah,
you
we're
know.
giving you a month to review it.
I appreciate it.
Any questions that you have, you can send through Dr. O'Halloran, and maybe we can answer them before, or we can talk about it at committee, or I can bring back the answers next
If we do
month.
have questions on this, we can
Yep.
tell you about
And the committee is a week from today, so.
Thank you for giving it to us early.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Something to read
Yeah.
for the weekend.
And we talked about in the finance committee, it's that time
You're
of year.
free, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, it's that time of year. We're trying to get everything on the same annual cycle for
Oh, wow.
review,
Look at
update,
that.
and revision. So,
My fraternity is one of the crazy.
all right.
I think we're set. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Now, what
There's
did
no
you have, Jay?
there's no
What
financial report. We're just going to go by what it's
This-
in. Okay.
Unless you want any specific question on it?
I do.
And now, what did you want to?
If I do, I'll call you.
Now, let's do old business first. We've got the calendar here.
We got count on over this.
Oh, wait, thought you had something on service.
You said it's going to do it.
I'll do the new business. Because it'd be a new business.
Not a problem. All right, old business.
Old business on this calendar, based on a couple of comments we had earlier. Do we want to look at not making these earlier dates for July? I know I can't make the July 2nd meeting because council moved from the 4th to the 2nd.
Y'all don't want to do Independence Day as a council meeting day? Y'all don't want to do Independence Day as a council meeting?
I think that that's a perfect example of self-governance, and we should meet that day, but I'm probably the only person that's going to vote to meet on July the 4th.
No.
So we're meeting on July 2nd.
And I think that's always going to be a potential problem when we set dates on it, that something may change in other calendars. I mean, I wish I could say we can all be free every day and come to meetings, but I know Chester has a list of meetings that he's involved with, and if we move ours, then those get disrupted. We've kind of kept Tuesday as our date, and because of after we moved, we
Well, I mean, the
crunched
question was.
schedule.
I don't think he's
do we
just
want it-
alluding to why he's going to be absent.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it-
and the question that came up earlier, though, I think Chester said, do we need to adjust this for APTA? Or could we use our regular monthly? And I don't care, I can miss the meeting.
Who's going to
The question
APTA?
came up, whether or not we needed to adjust this for APTA.
Who's going to absent?
I think we already voted on the calendar originally. What we were adding to the calendar was the public meeting dates.
Am I going to absent this?
But you amended it.
No, I know I can't go nowhere in July.
Public meeting date wouldn't have to change. And, you know, I'm not asking that we change these, it was just a question that came up. So,
I know we did, if you look at the calendar, it's not always consistently on the same days because of holidays and stuff. And
Well, it works out. It works out for us because
As long as y'all don't put no meetings on
we
Friday.
kept them on
Page
four Fridays, and we
126.
try to keep them off Thursdays because we know that it affects the councils.
It's the very last page.
but don't we go to
It's
next?
still page
But aren't we in
Hey,
Vegas
Bill,
in July?
you will be at
We'll
the
be Vegas
executive
the
meeting,
second
so
to
what we
Thursday.
don't get from you, we can
That's
go
what I'm
there,
saying.
depending
No,
on,
I won't be there at all on the 2nd.
I don't think we'll be back. I'll be back on the 16th.
or the 9th,
I'll be back Monday.
when we make the final kind of decision.
Yeah, it's Clark County. It's Clark County. What county?
Yeah, we can't, you know, there's holidays, vacations, and I know the 30th, the staff is all out at a training program, so that's why we couldn't use the 30th.
Yeah, the 9th is fine.
The 9th for the committee meeting?
Executive committee meeting.
Was that the only changes that we had on the amended?
Yes.
And we also were talking
And we
about
added the
adding the public meetings back to the calendar.
Yeah, I need to see those days.
It's something now.
Okay.
Yes.
It's like the second Tuesday, I think.
It's the
Second
10th.
Wednesday.
I see
Second
it.
Wednesday.
July 10th, August 14th.
All right.
You good with those, Jay? I know you wanted to see them.
I see it. It's the last page of it tonight.
I'm moving forward with
July 2nd.
Mine moves slow. 2nd, 9th, and 16th are the July meetings.
Great. Great.
So we're voting on this, or?
We're gonna have to, because
Oh,
it
we
is a
already
change.
did. What was changed?
We added the public meeting
Oh,
dates.
okay, because we'd already voted on the other meeting day.
Yeah, we added a meeting, so we have to approve those. Do I have a motion to
So moved.
accept the
So moved.
amended?
Second.
All in favor?
Oh,
You can say aye.
It would be easier to say aye than raise my
Another-
hand. It takes less energy, but.
And you want Beverly to hear all 9 of you at the same time, she'd be like the
We have to
chairman,
raise our
having to
hand.
sit here, listen to all 9 of you.
Yes.
You good, Chester? You got all your dates in there?
Great.
Okay.
I'm just making sure I don't have the conflict, and we don't, because it's,
No, there's so many.
it's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
All right, let's,
Prior to going to new business?
new business.
Prior to going to
Come
new
you, Jay.
business.
Oh, you
Prior
got
to going
something
to
else?
new
Go ahead.
business. Prior to going to new business.
Give it to me.
Thunderbolt. Where is that at with this piece right here?
which piece?
Because we never came to a conclusion on Thunderbolt.
In terms of,
First off, we never voted on anything with Thunderbolt, and we're talking about pulling those signs up. That's what everybody coming to me talking about. So if we're talking about pulling those signs up, we need to vote on it, because we never voted on it. We tabled it.
from which
And-
meeting?
To put signs up.
No, I'm sorry, to take signs down. There's
I
6 or 7
understand.
signs along in Thunderbolt, that conversation
Yeah.
piece. We never actually, I went through the minute, we never actually voted to take the
They
signs
did.
down.
Well, they're being used to be a message board for the moment. I guess at some point we will have to take them out of the
So the
way.
signs haven't been removed, that's my question.
The poles are still there as far as I know.
The
Everything's
signs have not
still in
been
place.
removed. We put notices up that the signs would be removed within the next 30 days.
But the thing is, we can't put that out until we vote that we're gonna actually remove the signs.
The signs are outside the service district.
It doesn't matter, we still have to vote on it.
I thought you already had voted.
No, we never voted on
We
it, we
tabled
tabled
that
it.
part.
That I
Oh, we
honestly
tabled- we
don't
tabled-
remember. 'Cause
We
We
tabled
tabled.
the part on removing the signs.
We tabled it until further discussion. We never voted on it.
Okay. That's why it's not showing up under all business.
I
It's still
understand
open.
it.
Yeah,
But it-
when
but
it
my
was
thing
tabled,
is,
it should have come
reason
back
why it brought me
back.
up, reason why I'm bringing it up is a Savannah State student came to me and said she rode the bus and said that they're getting ready to take, she didn't know I was on the cat board. And I didn't tell her either because I didn't want to argue with her. But I did tell her.
You had your shirt on, Jay,
But long story short, she said, well, yeah, they're taking the buses down because I guess the signs are up. But we never voted on it.
Okay, we can do that.
Understand what I'm saying?
We haven't done it yet.
And did we do a Title VI analysis on this?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so
I'm sorry.
have,
Didn't mean to point.
but we haven't received a copy of that Title VI analysis.
We can get that to you.
Yeah, we can get some information to you. One of our staff members in planning and when our planning manager was here, they looked at that issue because, you know, we knew it was coming up. And so we made a determination that the policy that you all have set in the past and based on ridership, we didn't have to do a comprehensive Title VI analysis.
So but my thing is, I need to know these things because if I'm in the public, people mention these things to me faster than they mention to you. And I'm not picking on, I mean,
No, you're on the bus.
I'm the one who has to deal with the questions when they're asked.
I understand.
And then the other piece is, we did not vote on it, so, and I'm not for or against it, but I need it to be documented for the record that if I vote against it, I voted against it. So
Right.
if nobody comes to me and says, well, y'all said that y'all moved the signs, but no, I didn't have anything to do with that. And that's my end of my submission.
I'm just, when did we put up the signs that we were stopping
On
for
the
stops?
14th, right after the committee meeting, I was, yeah. right
I remember the committee meeting where
yeah,
we
right
discussed
after
the two different
committee meeting.
signs. That's
Right.
fine.
But, yeah.
And they went up. How long do we want to leave them up is the question.
I don't care about that. I just want to make sure we vote on it. That's all I
We
care.
won't remove them until the board tells us to remove them.
Correct.
When we put the signs up, we were under the assumption we wanted to give customers at least 30 days notice.
Well, I'm for all that.
Yeah,
I'm for all
and so
that.
And
we
we
were
have to
thinking
remember-
around the
Sorry.
15th, but they can stay up as long as they need to until there's a vote on it.
Okay.
And Savannah State's out of session right now. other
Yeah,
than
the school,
summer
this summer
classes.
school, you got summer school.
So a lot of them aren't even going to see the signs until they come back
Right.
in
That's
August.
correct,
So
which
maybe
won't be till August.
You want to table this to July to make a decision on that when we know
I
the
prefer-
dates?
Sessions
prefer-
from the signs.
We're not tabling nothing because it's not on the agenda.
Right.
So
I don't-
my thing
We'll
is,
put it
no
on the
action should
agenda
even
for
been
July.
transpired because it's not on the agenda.
We'll put it on for July so we can
Appreciate
vote
it.
on removing the signs. Once everybody knows, because if I don't see the sign, who cares? I don't ride that bus.
Yeah, and they won't be
They
back
will.
until
August
the
or
mid-
September, right?
August or
Yeah,
September.
so let's try to push it towards that
Now,
date so
too,
they all see it.
Staff has been having conversations, informal conversations with contacts at Savannah State, is that correct, Aiden? Like for the last several months, telling them that this was a possibility.
Yeah,
And I'm in support of all that.
Yeah.
And
I
I
just
don't
want to
want
make
someone having
sure
run
it's
it up
somewhere
and said in
documented
August, yeah.
that we voted to take these
Absolutely.
signs down, to give me the opportunity to say I'm against it.
Well, since it
Or
came
for
up
it.
in new business, we will put it on the agenda for a vote or tabling in July.
Okay, appreciate
We're
it.
taking it off the table.
Well, I'm tabling, yes.
Correct.
Did you have a question, Bill? I saw your hand.
No, I was.
He just, I know what he's saying.
We do that in July. I don't, I'm
I
not
don't want
asking
anybody
for-
to miss it and be standing out there on a rainy day waiting for a bus that's never coming.
And I don't need an answer to this question right now, but what we're talking about is voting whether, about taking the signs down.
Correct.
Right.
What we're not voting on is whether or not to discontinue service.
Right, the
because
service
that's
Correct.
given.
being discussed.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I didn't know.
No, I wasn't talking about service. No.
I was confused.
But I am talking about that bus, instead of it, because that's going to change the time on the ridership too, because
Yes,
now
it
it's
is.
not stopping at stops.
Yep.
So what about that conversation? That's a whole other conversation.
That's how the schedule's
And I'm
gonna have to
done.
be changed and all that. So we'll get that for next meeting. We'll put it on the agenda to make the vote on the sign removal.
Cool. I appreciate it, Mike.
Not a problem.
Are you new business?
I am new business. I ain't talking next month.
Did you have anything else?
Beverly's getting ready to pass this
okay.
out to you. If you did not know, for those board members, I have been riding transit for the last couple of weeks.
I heard that.
As an interdependent person to transit. Part of my riding transit is so we can identify issues that we need to fix within our transit system. It's not to pick on, beat up, or do anything as far as that's concerned. But along with my ride along, I discovered that I have been asking for this, and it's not to beat up anybody, it's not to beat up you, Mike, but in the role I have been asking for a list of things, comparable things within our structure that we need to work on. I just did it for board members only. She can scan it in and send it out to everybody else. But if you look at the first page, moving forward, I will be documenting various issues throughout Chatham County. Most of these issues are primarily tied to infrastructure. However, financial practices and governmental transit procedures will be reviewed. As a measure of good faith, I will go back and catalog all verbal and written requests made by myself in a special report to ensure I don't allow any previous requests to go unheard. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to be riding the bus at least once a week or once a month. And on those rides, I'm going to find issues that we need to look parallel within our transit system. I'm not just saying bad, I'm also looking bad and good. For example, for GMA, instead of me driving over to the Westin, I parked at the Hyatt and I caught the ferry over just to see how it works, because it's a structure that's under our auspices as a board. And so with this being said, I'm going to create a citation code system that's going to document in my own reference. If you look here, it's 16 pages. And the first thing that I documented as far as June 2019 was the platform issues. When I walked the platform, that platform right outside this door, I walked the platform, there are multiple TV screens. They have not worked, not just this year, but in years past. And this needs to be rectified and fixed. Because riders need to understand when onboarding times come up or when it's time to get on that bus. If we're going to be an efficient organization, we have to have these signs fixed. The other piece, which I see that side is fixed, but this side is not fixed, is the ADA, the little handicap thing. This one's been broke for a while. Now, whatever service pieces we need to get this one fixed, we need to get fixed, because we cannot be an ADA compliant organization if we're not ADA compliant at our transit center. The other piece that I looked at was dealing with, we talked about it and we discussed about trying to transition from the coins and everything like that to using these machines. The machine outside is broke. The machine outside here is broke, and the one at Oglethorpe Mall is broke. And it's had a sign on it for quite some time. If we're going to transition to getting away from using coins, we have to have the proper machines out there for us to be able to do that. So once a month, and right now I got probably about 182 things that I'm going to catalog, but once a month I'm going to come up with 15, 16 issues, I'm going to group them together, and I'm going to bring it to the table. It's not always going to be bad, it's not always going to be good, but it's things that we need to address as an organization to make sure that we're providing the best service we can possibly provide. And I'll take any questions.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
How recent are these photos?
These photos were last month.
Every photo you got here is in the last
These
month?
within the last month.
Okay, well then I want to concur on it. One thing here is this one monitor that's talking about the CAT bike system. It's been 2 to 3 months since I noticed that and asked for it to be removed and was told it'd be taken care of right away.
Okay.
So somebody's not following through.
And so that I brought this up, and what Mike will get, and if the board members want it, it doesn't matter to me.
Which one? Okay.
We're gonna have to come up with some kind of designation. What Mr. Brown will get, I'll just call him Mr.
We
Brown.
call him Mike B.
Mr. Brown. I call him Mr. Brown.
B.
What Mr. Brown will get,
Congratulations on your
what Mr. Brown will get is
I
a
understand.
Excel spreadsheet with these things right here, because if you looked at the bottom, it says issue report will have a citation code. Citation code will be, the month will be 05, and then CT, which represents the transit center,
Okay.
and then 01 would be the number issue tied to this paper right here.
Now, you're going to send those out to us so we have.
So I will send
at
that to
committee?
Mike. I will know what I'm talking about. I will send it to Beverly. And Beverly can send it
Then we
to
know it's
whoever you
gonna
want
get
to send
there,
to.
yeah.
I don't care.
Now, you want to discuss these that are.
No, it's not a point of
No, not
discussing
right now.
them, but it's a point of bringing up the issue.
As we go
And Mike,
forward,
did you
we
get a
can bring it
copy?
up in committee and discuss
Let's make sure
it.
Mike gets a copy, please.
Hey, I can give you mine, excuse me.
And I agree. When I ride around, I see where we need to make changes. I can tell you right now, the bus stopped in front of my building. If I walked out to it, it's on a 45-degree grade and it's a pole.
And once
there's nothing else there. You can't, it's owned by Brasseler. They're not going to give us land over there. There's no way to flatten it out and make a handicap access, and there's no sidewalk.
And once again, Mike,
So,
this is not to pick on anybody. This ain't the big.
We all
But
have
I
to be
asked for
aware.
this 2 years ago when I came on the board. I said I want to get more strategic as far as that listing is concerned, so I can see what projects we actually doing, so we can knock them out.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be easy on Mike because I don't want Mike to go nowhere. But I'm and what I mean by that is I'm gonna communicate with Mike directly
Absolutely.
because I can.
Yes.
But it's not a point of calling out anybody who's in our transit system. It's just a point of when we're out there and we're talking about passing pieces of conversations, and I pointed you because you were heavy as far as us getting that machine out there to be able to do our passes and anything like that.
Yep.
Because I'm looking at that because I understand, and for the driver's perspective, I understand because you got that person who's pulling that money out their hand and it's trouble in their hand, and they trying to force that dollar bill into that machine, and and that's 22 seconds. And you multiply that times 15 times. That's why the ridership is the way it is, or time is the way it is. And we have to address these issues. If we're going to talk about upgrading machines, then we have to address that, making sure those machines are working in proper order.
I hate those ones with the dollar bills. I've been in Armstrong trying to get a soda, and you have to literally go through a pocket full of money to get one that works. So
And not all of them were broke, Mike. Just some of them.
Yeah, well, I had Clinton and Newchester, I'm sorry.
Appreciate it.
Jay, this is really incredible. Just the amount of information here. I think that's impressive, and that's very cool to see.
No problem.
I think if we
I
can.
think you need to give him your badge.
I'll give you this little star. Amazon Prime.
I'm a gold star.
That's what happens
Another
when the
question.
flight goes away for a week.
And I just wanted to know if we don't get access to this, that's fine. But the Excel sheet that you are using to track that, is that something that we'll have access to, at least to maybe just see?
I'll give you. I'll send you a copy of it.
Okay.
I'll
At least
PDF,
seeing
I'll
it in a
PDF
list.
and send it to you. That's not easy.
That'd be cool.
Anybody who wants a copy of
Send it to
the
Beverly.
I gotta set it up first. And I did hire an intern to do all this for me. So I'm not. Don't tell Tab I hired an intern. She's gonna fuss.
On whose budget?
On my
I
budget.
think that's
Okay.
great. That's what you should be able to do. I think that's what public office is for.
All right.
That's all.
Chester.
That's all I have.
Being it that I don't ride the bus, but don't we have folks that we hire and pay that's supposed to take care of maintenance? So how long has these, especially the monitors and things, how long have they been out totally that you all know of? I'm talking to staff now. How long have these things been out that you all know of?
The monitors have been out. How long, Steve? Now?
Probably a year.
And so what's the problem? Do we know?
Every time we replace them, they're Indra monitors in the way that canopy's set up. You can't seal it, gets water in it, so it blows them, and we started our ITS project, so we decided not to replace them now until the new ITS system gets in here, because at that point, everything will be HD and they'll be replaced. They're about $3,000 per monitor, and every time you put them in there,
And what's the timeline for them being replaced when you start up the new system?
the ITS system right now, we just finished the evaluation, so we're probably looking at 6-8 months.
So it was an administrative decision just to let them go.
Not
to
give them spend another $30,000-$40,000 because we had already replaced them 2 or 3 times.
And the problem is the way it's structured, water.
The way it's structured
All right, so-
outside with that canopy, the water comes down, and we've had the.
So with the new ones that you expect, they're gonna be waterproof?
Yes. And it's gonna be a whole different design, and they're gonna be moved over where the water can't.
Can't get to them?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The only problem I got to that is a few of them that were out weren't on the brackets, because I was there when it was raining real hard. The ones on the bracket I concur with, but there are a few that are standalone in the middle that aren't on brackets, and they did not have any kind of precipitation coming down on them. And for example, the one down here at the very end, that one don't have it. There was no water around it.
That
So
one has also been replaced about 2 or 3 times. It's just the moisture in the air. When Indra put these things in and we had to buy them from Indra,
So the-
It's a bad product, it's a cheap product, and they cost us $3,000 a piece, and they've caused us a lot of issues.
So not to meander the situation, why hasn't this issue been brought to us?
I think we discussed it when we talked about releasing the RFP to replace the ITS system.
You got to tell me what month that was brought up, because I don't remember it. Because when I did it, the first thing I do when I do this stuff is I go through all the agendas to see when these kind of things are brought up. And yes, I've seen where we replaced the screen, but I haven't seen where we brought up a total conversation about how all these things are not in working capacity.
It was in November of 2018 that we released the RFP, so I would guess that we had the meeting to approve the release prior to that. And I don't remember any detailed discussions about the screens or which ones went out or how many times we replaced them. But I do remember the discussions about the Indra system and not putting any more money into that system.
I agree.
In order to position ourselves to get the best system to replace it. I don't think we talked about the details, Commissioner Jones, but we did have committee meeting, internal planning, board planning, budget discussions about the ABL system and not wanting to put any more money into it because it wasn't giving us what we wanted out of it. We were going to kind of bank the money and try to replace it with the best system we could.
I'll hold any discussion with you. Mike.
That's fine.
Also, just kind of looking through this and hearing a bit of what you're saying about this, it does seem that outside is technologically beyond our means to be able to support. And I think if we move forward with the RFP with whatever new ITS system we've got, we get rid of all the TVs and just get two really nice, really resilient ones as opposed to having 25. I think the less moving parts we can have, the more we can focus on customer experience and just great routes, as opposed to having TVs with, clearly they're. I think it'd be really tough having a TV outside in Savannah, Georgia.
And I
my thing is some of them work, some of them don't.
Yeah.
So it's not an issue of humidity or anything like that. When I'm walking away, I'm gonna research that stuff to see if actual dry humidity is a problem tied to
I'd be
that.
okay with just taking them all out. I mean, like if it's just
Well,
like
eventually,
that much.
when we move to the next phase of the technology, they will all go, and they'd hate to give Indra any more money than we've already dumped into
I'm with
that
you.
On board with that.
junk that they gave us.
Now, any discussion wasn't mentioned about the ADA unit outside in the machine. Because if we can't put no electronics out there, why are we voting on buying electronics to put outside because of the humidity? That's why I don't want to get into that conversation. Because we just recently had a vote about putting machines out there, but if it's a humidity issue, why are we voting to put machines out there? I'm just being clairvoyant in my conversation.
I'm fine with that. And Mike is now aware of the ADA.
Okay.
I know the other one works because Mr. Hitchcock let me in when I was pulling the other door. And he said, "Oh, listen, open."
Yeah, they fixed the other one because I saw the black top on top of the
That
other.
one. This one is being actually replaced tomorrow by the end of this week because we ordered all new pieces for it.
Now, and this ain't for you, Steve, when I say what I'm about to say. But I don't like hearing the comment when we call something out, it's going to be replaced tomorrow or it happened today. Because recently we just said, I asked a question about something else, and I got the letter today. So the conversation can't be fixed on the time point when I ask for it. I'm expecting these things to be fixed prior to me even asking for it. And this is not for you, Steve, not by far.
And we do expect broken things to be fixed that can
Correct.
be fixed and are worth fixing.
And I'm done. I ain't got no more. I'm on my.
I like this nice presentation.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Did I have someone else that had commentary? All right. Last item is we tabled the board officer elections, so we have to keep it on the agenda until that time. It stays tabled unless someone decides to untable it.
No, I thought when we put it on the table, I thought we said we were gonna wait until after July.
That's what the motion is, but it has to stay on the agenda.
Yeah,
And if
so-
someone wants
Understood.
to untable it, they
No,
are.
just
I
keep it
think
on
it
the
stays on
table.
the table.
Let's stay on the table. I move we keep it on the table.
No need to, it's
I
on the
move we
table.
adjourn.
Yeah.
I second that
Let's
motion.
adjournment. Let's go to
I
lunch.
third it, let's see.
All right. Hey, Mike, you got to vote on
You
it.
don't have to vote on adjournment.
That's right.
You down?
Gotcha.
Well, he voted.
I was waiting for that one.
You don't have to.
I circled that in my Robert's rules.
But we're happy to.
We're happy to have lunch.
Agenda has been exhausted. We will.
I'm going home.
Meeting adjourned. That's what I was waiting
Thank
for.
you, Mike.
My hammer.
I'm not going home.
I'm going home. I got food at home.
Oh,
I got food at home.
Save some of those sandwiches by eating.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like 30 of them. It's like 30 of them, man. Tell them.
It's like